So I've just bought another tent. This is the Helsport Trolltind Superlight 2. So let's take the kit out the package and get a wee look at it. First of all, let's just check the weight. So it's still got the hang tags and the accessories in there, like the repair kit I believe, so it's just over 1.5 kilos. So on a par with other Bibbler tents. I'm impressed by the bag length. That's actually quite good for bike packing or for just for packing in a rucksack. It's actually pretty damn short. So there you go, there's the component parts. There seems to be 13 pegs I think. These are really light. They actually feel about as light as my MSR cabin cores. I'm quite impressed with them actually. Y section. Repair kit. Bunch of patches, not else quite sure what else is in there. Poles, I haven't opened them up yet, but I notice it comes with a spare pole section and a repair sleeve, which is good. Typical kind of Nordic quality. Inner tent and fly sheet and the separate stuff sacks for the whole lot. Should also mention there's a kind of generic instruction sheet separate for putting the tent up, but it seems to cover probably all Helsport tents. Just on opening up the repair kit, plenty of patches there. There's actually a sewing kit, I can feel it inside, and some instructions on how to repair a pole breakage. That's your folded repair materials for the fly sheet, inner tent, etc., and the needle and thread. So taking out the unnecessary accessories, well, I don't say not unnecessary, but it does save you a wee bit of weight. There's about 65-70 grams worth of odds and sods you may not need to carry. So again, in the style of a Bibbler tent, just two standard poles, same length, can't really go wrong with them. DAC aluminium, green NSL variety. I think they are 8.5mm diameter. It's a 15 denier Silsil nylon outer fly sheet, I believe. You can see how thin it is. That's lying on a white Tyvek base and it shows right through. The poles thread in from one end and then they're captive at this end. So as you can see, there's a kind of rubberised heavy duty sleeve with the end. Same again here, and the poles are inserted from the outside of the fly sheet, which is quite important from my point of view. Makes it a lot easier and keeps the tent dry. So that's it, two poles slid through, popped in, and then they terminate in little plastic feet, kind of similar to Hilleberg, Fjallraven, etc. You can see the outer pole sleeve detail. So it's actually quite a big space without the inner in it. I think if you were using this in summer ultralight mode, you've got a nice big, easy to use space. Plenty of head height, I'm 5'8". There's a good foot and a half above me here without the inner in it obviously. And you could easily sleep too. Sorry, what I have noticed, which is different from how I saw the designs on online, is this used to be a prop vent in here. So you could choose to close that outer vent or not, whereas now it seems fixed. It's just a stiff nuts in it. The same also goes for the rear, again just a stiffened roof vent, which cannot be closed as far as I can tell. Nice build quality on the clips and the cords used. So they're very heavy duty, very positive click when you put them in place, just as I put the inner up just now. So there you go, that's the inner finally clipped in, which hopefully I won't have to remove too often. Right, that's us finally all pitched up, inner attached, so as it should be for the future. Found one spare peg, which is probably intentional considering they give you a spare pole and a pole sleeve. So I could probably leave that behind as well, unless I'm missing something vital and I haven't spotted it. Let's get inside and get a wee look. So you can see what I mean by this is now an open vent that you cannot close, which I can see maybe why they've done it to simplify the construction and lighten the weight a bit, but in my mind it makes it slightly less four-seasonish. Possibly wind-driven snow or wind-driven rain even might possibly get in there. Same goes for the rear vent, which is the same situation where you can't really close this down. It would be worth almost putting a Velcro tab on here. Again, on an earlier photograph I'd seen, because very few people have seen these things in the flesh, this used to be a waterproof zip with no flap on it, but it's quite possible that the waterproof zip is just not effective enough and will let water through. So they've gone for a more traditional flap over traditional zip, nylon coil zip. The door unzips from the bottom and up to the left and then ties off at one point here just through a toggle and plastic loop, which is fine, keeps it out the dirt. Seems to be quite simple and quite effective. I haven't checked yet whether the zip is two-way, because it's useful to be able to vent the top of the door. As you can see here, it's a two-part zip, so one running along the bottom to this corner and then another rainbow zip cutting up to the left. I'll just see if I can tie this back as well. So here we are in our inside. Headroom obviously has been taken away quite a lot, but it's still 5'8". I've got about 6 inches above me. It's relatively narrow, it cuts in the space. With two of you in here, you'd struggle to sit up on either side. If I could just give you an idea here, you'd be kind of banging against the inner. There's two mesh panels running along the side, solid front and back. So although there should be quite a good airflow, it doesn't directly cool the tent down because it doesn't go straight through the inner. It'll run along the sides. So hopefully it'll create quite a comfortable environment. There's also two pockets just to the front, left and right. And other than that, some hanging loops. 4, so you can do your drying lines. Interesting enough, there's nothing in the centre for a torch. Maybe a wee bit of an oversight, but nothing we can't fix just by putting a line across the front 2 or rear 2. Inside, I've just checked the main door and disappointingly it's not a two-way zip. That's sealed. Inner tent wise, nice quality material. The typical kind of DWR coated polyester mesh. There's the two side vents as you can see on there, just made it a no seam mesh. And again, no hanging loop in the middle. Nice area interior, it feels okay in here actually, quite comfortable. Quite airy with a very light fly sheet as well, so there's a lot of light transmitted through the tent. So the one major advantage of having a bibbler style tent like this, which I really favour, is obviously the strength against the lightweightness of it. Particularly good for one person because it gives you plenty of room. You could cook inside by pulling the inner back. But more to the point, having an inner and an outer means that I don't really have to worry about breathability issues because this should remain pleasant in here and drip free. Unlike the MSR Advanced Pro, the RAB Latox, etc. It just remains to be seen whether it's strong enough and whether it will be as robust as those shelters. My first impression is it's maybe a wee bit more inclined towards a 3 season rather than a high mountain 4 season. But until we get that out and try it this weekend, we won't know. Okay, that's it with 2 Thermarest Neo Airs in it. And actually, that floor plan looks not too bad. I thought it was maybe a bit narrow. I'll measure it now and tell you exactly what it is. So I would say that is 205, 2 metres 5 long. It's also 120 wide, which isn't that wide at all to be honest, but it's actually quite usable because the walls go up very steeply at the side. So you do get that 100 high at the peak, which is pretty good actually because I thought it'd be nearer 90, 95. 100 high is okay. I can tell even now that basically that back end into the wind will probably mean that the lowest point of the fly here in the middle will bow in towards the inner. It's under some tension, but it could maybe do with a third tie out just there. It's also worth noting, and it remains to be seen, because it's sil nylon, so silicone on the inside, it's not sealed, there's no tape, and it remains to be seen whether I'll need sil net in heavy rain, because it may well leak, but I'll leave it out to see what happens. So again everybody, thanks for watching just this wee initial video of it before I actually use it in anger. I think it is 3 season or 3+ season. I would not feel as confident in 4 season conditions in the hills as I would do in dedicated kind of bibbler style tents like the MSR Advanced Pro, etc. But it will cure, I think, the condensation problems I have. I can pin back the inner as well to cook, so I can cook inside if need be, which is something that really scares the hell out of me with the other ones. But yeah, maybe a wee bit less robust than I thought it might be, and the design seems to have been pared down and simplified from a lot of what you'll see on the internet. So the venting is different, simpler, and can't be shut. So I think it does bias itself towards 3 season. But anyway, we'll put up another video once I've tested it and I'll let you know a bit more. If you've got any questions, just pop them in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer as best I can.